Welcome you to the CEO Talk Mumbai. This is an initiative by The Talk. My name is Muthu and I'm the founder of Crumbles, an organic snacks brand. The theme of today's session is Rising to the Challenge with Tech Advantage. CEO Talk is a platform to share ideas and insights to transform organizations to create a better and transparent forum for meaningful business and relationships and partnerships. This event is brought to you by Tata Tele Business Services. They are the country's leading enabler of connectivity and communication solutions for businesses. They offer services ranging from connectivity, collaboration, cloud, IoT security, and marketing solutions. Tata Tele Business Services also offers the largest portfolio of ICT services for businesses in India. Now, I would like to start today's session by introducing the most eminent panelists who have joined us with us today. And I know this is a virtual event, but let's all give a good round of applause as I mention their names so that we have a good energy flowing inside the room. I'd like to start by welcoming Mr. Ravi Shankar Gopalan, the Director of Sairam Corporate Advisors Private Limited. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Followed by Mr. Prasad Salaskar, Managing Partner, Salaskar and Company. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining with us. Followed by Mr. Vinay Kabra, CEO, IIT Solutions Private Limited. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Followed by Mr. Umesh Gurav, Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer, NCDEX. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. And finally, we have Meha Lahiri, COO and CFO, ReCity Network Private Limited. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining with us. Welcome. And at this juncture, it is also my honor to recognize and welcome Janice Das, the Regional Marketing Head for Mumbai Tata Tele Business Services. Welcome, ma'am. Very, very happy to have you with us. And over to you for a small introduction.
Once again, a very good afternoon to all the eminent speakers and to all the participants who have logged in to have an insightful session with us. On behalf of Tata Tele Business Services, I would spend some time in sharing about what are we all about, what are our core strengths, and what is our overall market strategy. So Tata Tele Business Services belongs to the prestigious Tata Group of companies, which is the country's leading enabler of connectivity and communication for businesses, with services ranging from connectivity, collaboration, cloud, security, IoT, and marketing solutions. TTBS offers the largest portfolio of ICT services for businesses. We have all experienced in the course of last 1 year that COVID-19 has acted as a tipping point for digital transformation in the workplace. And this will speed up further as technology is now a vital pivot on which enterprises are totally dependent for their business continuity and growth. Digital agility thus is becoming a critical factor for the workforce to communicate and collaborate effectively, both internally and with customers. As a country's leading technology enabler, Tata Tele Business Services has been empowering enterprises with voice, data, and managed services to develop deep digital capabilities, build resilience, and enhance operational efficiency. Enterprises are moving fast on their digital curve and are embracing hybrid work culture that allows them to service their customers from anywhere and anytime. To meet this growing demand, we have strengthened our portfolio of services such as cloud-based communication solutions, collaboration solutions, IoT, data management, and cybersecurity solutions. We have recently launched an advanced cloud communication suite by the name SmartFlow, which combines an uninterrupted flow of business communication with intelligent call routing and monitoring. Not only this, it also offers an on-demand scalability which allows businesses to adapt quickly to changing business conditions. And today we understand the threat of cybersecurity and it is how important to take care of that. Therefore, smart flow also comes with enterprise-grade security and reliability. Cyber attacks like phishing, ransomware, etc., have become far more pervasive and sophisticated, especially during the pandemic. To address this, TTBS has enhanced its cybersecurity portfolio to provide a world-class security platform to offer email security, web security, next-generation firewall, endpoint security, and multi-factor authentication security. Therefore, enterprises now have access to a comprehensive smart perimeter security proposition that is robust, scalable, and can be rapidly deployed at an affordable cost. TTBS has further strengthened its suite of work from anywhere solutions to meet the demands of the hybrid workforce. Solutions like hosted IBR allows enterprises to quickly set up distributed call centers and enable agents to work from home. Others like hosted PBX, audio and web conferencing solutions, international bridging services ensure connectivity and collaboration amongst teams spread geographically across the globe. TTBS is also a trusted provider of Internet of Things services that are designed to facilitate real-time tracking for informed decision making. TTBS IoT portfolio comprises of asset management, fleet management tracking, school bus tracking, and workforce management. For the last 2 decades, our deep customer engagements have helped us to develop solutions that would enable enterprises to compete and win in their respective business segments. We will continue to play the role of technology enabler by strengthening our portfolio of services, especially in the areas of connectivity, collaboration, SaaS, IaaS, IoT, and cloud, while simultaneously enhancing our network and sales capability reach to cover as much of the enterprise footprint as possible and enable them to do big. Once again, thank you so much, all the eminent speakers and the participants, for sparing your time and joining this session. I'm sure it will be an insightful one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janice, for setting the meeting on such a high note and for a beautiful introduction about the Tata Tele and what they do and how supportive they were, especially during the pandemic time. Thank you once again. And yes, without any further ado, let's quickly jump on to today's panel discussion. As I told you before, it's going to be a full-length discussion wherein I have a few questions with me, and I would love to understand your perspectives. And just like I had insisted before, the first 2 questions are, very generic questions wherein you don't have to take a lot of time, right? So yes, you see, can you imagine that last year, this time was probably the last week wherein things were normal? And we're almost at the verge of celebrating the first year anniversary of the COVID. That's how the things have been, right? We still remember telling each other that things are going to be fine in August. But August passed by, the next year passed by, and still things are not completely normal. So looking back, during this pandemic, it was an absolute roller coaster for a lot of us. Talking about which, I would like to understand from you panelists, how has this COVID affected your business and its impact on your revenues? So that will be my first question for the day. And I would love to start with Mr. Umesh. Over to you, sir. So please unmute yourself.
So firstly, thank you for inviting me to this wonderful session and to share the dais with this elite speakers. So nobody can deny that this pandemic, our economy has been, hard. It's been disruptive. Our Indian economy has been going through headwinds during pandemic due to lockdown and production impact. But however, thanks to the Indian government and the various reforms that they have taken ahead, they have given a boost to the infrastructure. Health spending is up now, bank mergers, disinvestments. The budget that was declared enhanced, increased foreign investment limits in different sectors, allowing foreign ownership with controls and safeguards. Recently, today I was reading one of the news which OECD has been published, which says that Indian economy will be growing at a faster pace at almost 12%. So I see, yes, the businesses, the productivity was impacted in the pandemic, But what I feel is now with post this pandemic sessions, the growth, the economy will be, there's going to be a sharp rebound. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Umesh. It's over to Mr. Ravi Shankar. Sir, am I audible? Ravi, sir?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes. Please go ahead.
This pandemic, I think, as it started at the fag end of March, we can say 1 year coincides with the financial year of 2021, really. And if you see that, if you split the financial year into 4 quarters, I think the first quarter was really an absolute washout because of the severe disruption of the lockdown. The second quarter was a look up for people very selectively, like retailers and those who are supplying essential commodities. From the third quarter, I think there were green shoots, but nothing really happened. And in fourth quarter now, I think people are actually doing business and really looking forward to the 10+% growth rate, which looks visible with the help of the budget also, which has been very supportive. I think this is broadly my analysis of the trend of the pandemic in the 4 quarters. So even as an analyst, when I look at anybody's balance sheet for 2021, I would ask them to submit the financials in quarters, and make good analysis and the full year, So that each of the quarters they have been able to tackle it, and that way you can get a better fix on that business.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Ravi. It's over to Mr. Prasad.
So this pandemic definitely was more like an unexpected thing for many industries where planning went for a toss. The astrologers could not predict. And, and what I've seen is that the mental state of people were put to test how to survive with limited resources and the limited means of even doing businesses. Like Mr. Gopalan said, that if you divide it into 4 quarters, the 4 quarters did 4 different things, but the slope was always on the upside. There were certain downsides, yes, but there were challenges which had to be mitigated using technology as part of it. We as chartered accountants are at the bottom of the full service industries. They're less least thought about last moment in return filing. Nobody wants to file the returns on the time, or they want to come at the last. So it was a challenge for us sitting at home to create a solution which helps all my clients. They're happy because at the comfort of the homes, they still don't have the stress of filing income tax returns or getting the audits done. So it was this innovation which is always available with us, but we did not look at it because we were in our comfort zone. Come on, let us accept the fact that till the pandemic did not really hit, everybody were in their comfort zone. Chalta hai to chalne do. But it's the pandemic which actually taught us, no, this has to stop. We can do business in a very different way, which is acceptable to us, and everybody and the society as large can actually grow. And I think that's what I take up. As far as bottom lines and revenues are concerned, I think as a service industry, yes, we were hit, but I was happy that my clients were more satisfied with the solutions which we were able to provide. I was accessible to them even better thanks to VCs and telephones and the other medias which are available and catered to them. So they were very happy that yes, Prasad did deliver, Salas company did deliver in a very different way, as others could not, or others may have been struggling. Main thing, my biggest assets are my staff. I was happy I could protect them. They were happy. Even today, few of my staff members are not in Bombay. But this technology has helped me put them together, and we are still happy that nobody's affected. They're happy working from the comfort of the home, and there was 100% delivery. I think I don't have any complaints per se, but I'm only happy that I was able to evolve in these times, and that is very important.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Prasad. Yes, Vinayji, I would like to understand from you. Over to you.
Pandemic has actually provided us good boost to the digital transformation, which is the main advantage. In fact, this was started by Modi government many years back, but first improvement during the basically currency exchange, when the currency was exchanged with 100 and 500 rupees. Now, this has given a bigger digital economy has come out quite well, and India is going to be very well benefited by this. And for our particular work, in fact, we were already used to the work from home culture. Being into a small office, when we added staff which could not accommodate office, we had 25% people working from home every day. So for us, this change was absolutely easily adoptable. Today, everybody is working from home quite perfectly well.
So for one person for whom I think the COVID has been a boon, I guess, for Vinay ji. Yes, over to Meha. I would like to understand from you how pandemic had affected your business and its impact on your revenues.
Thank you so much, Muthu. So as Mr. Prasad mentioned and Umesh did mention, so yes, the businesses did get delayed. The funds did dry up, and it was quite a perplexed situation for every scenario, whether it was our clients, whether it was the city where we were working, and whether it was even our employees ourselves. But I would say, as the other speakers mentioned, this whole pandemic definitely made everybody sit back, get to 1,000 feet view, and understand and analyze what are the restructuring that as an organization you need to do, what are the digital transformations that you need to do. We were already on our journey of a digital transformation and creating tech-enabled solutions, because that's what cities require for a sustainable, sustainable monitoring of waste, collection of waste, and a behavioral change. But what pandemic did for us, that yes, you saw the videos of waste professionals being awarded, the frontline warriors who didn't stop in my team a single day during the pandemic. For us, it was very critical. How do we ensure their mental health, their safeties, their security? And we completely upgraded our safety procedures, our security solutions. And I'm very glad to say that none of our employees on the even region, Nainital, Dalhousie, extreme conditions, no one, in spite of the constant issues, we had operator challenges and customer challenges.
Meha, I think you need to work on your audio.
It was important that everybody.
I think your network is poor.
Am I audible now?
You're audible, but your voice is disturbed. I think there is a problem with your network.
Am I audible now?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Is it better?
Yes,
Am
ma'am.
I audible now?
Yeah. I'll come back to you in the next round. Meha, thank you so much for your inputs.
Sure.
Right. So overall, I think it has been again mixed reviews for the people. For few people, the COVID did work out very well. And to some, yes, there were some places where we were hit. All right. But as there are a few people in the first round who were talking about, yes, like Raviji rightly said, splitting it into the quarters, and Prasadji also brought in the term of astrologer and the concept. So I think we're all going to, get into the mode of astrology for a while. So I just want to understand from the panelists, how do you foresee this financial year closing? Is it going to be on a positive side, or is it going to be on the negative side? I'd like to start with Mr. Umesh. Over to you. Please unmute yourself, sir.
The financial year, this financial year, I think it will be more positive. There will be growth. The production is going to impact. You talk about any industry now. You see about the pharma. You see the industry for automobiles. You see the very good example is about the Sensex. In the last pandemic, I think February, the Sensex was 40,000. Currently, we are reaching almost 50,000. There are many IPOs which are coming up. Railtel, IRCTC, MTAR, Gland Pharma. I mean, the listing was on very high prices. So I feel the current financial year, which is going to come, or which we are in, is India is going to boom. India is going to, I mean, I won't mind saying that we are going to be, on a very higher, steeper or very higher progressive side.
All right, that's really, really wonderful to hear. Being very positive really gives a lot of confidence, isn't it? Yes, thank you, Mr. Umesh. Yes, Raviji, I would like to understand from you.
Yes, I think we are going to start with a base which was bad. So the improvement will be definitely be there, and it will, in terms of numbers, it will look substantial. Having said that, even if you take a 3-year filing and compare how this 21-22 is going, it is going to be an outperformer for the simple reason that a lot of pent-up demand across industries is going to unfold. And let us face it, even today, after so many years of independence, India is a command economy. It's not a purely capitalist economy. Government plays a very, very important role. And in that sense, I think a strong government just delivered a reasonably good budget. Some are telling it's a budget of the decade and all the sorts of things. But it has been an intelligent and well thought out budget. And I think there is a commitment to deliver on it. Keeping all this in mind, I think although the fiscal deficit may still be going for a toss for some time, but that is okay globally. And I think that will be a very strong demand-driven growth in the economy.
All right, wonderful, wonderful, Ravisa. Yes, just like him, another positive output. Yes, Mr. Prasad, I would like to understand from you.
I fully agree with Mr. Gopalan. Yes, we will be having a fiscal deficit issue, but that's cyclical in nature because it's situational based. The biggest advantage to India over the other countries is the population itself. We ourselves is the biggest market. It does not take a rocket science to sell to ourselves. And I think that is the base why our industries are doing so well. It could be the telecom industry, which is benefited the most thanks to the homeschooling, the video conferencing. We are having a video conference just now. We are having a seminar this way. So the bandwidth requirement definitely has increased to connect people. The second thing is that the commodities have increased, the commodity consumption has gone up. So we per se are the biggest we contributors to the economy. Yes, we had a bad time in the first half, second half, third half, but thereon, I think we are only going to go on the path of growth.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad. Yes, Mr. Vinay, I'd like to understand from you.
All the response has been basically mixed. Some industries have suffered and some industries have gained advantage. The main reason is the digital part. As I have been stressing it, it is improving. Companies are going to do better, but this year's responses, because of the purchases, are also limited from the many organizations. The overall results from the companies will be almost at this zero profit level or little profit they will be able to show. But in the coming year, it will be a fantastic growth as people have already learned to live with limited conditions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vinay. Yes, finally over to Meha.
I hope my audio is good now, Muthu.
Yes, it's better now.
Okay, great. So as far as the waste sector and the whole sector of civic tech is concerned, there is a huge potential going forward because all tech solutions which are for city levels, whether it is for waste or whether it is for agriculture or education, is seeing a lot of potential growth. Hence, in civic tech solutions, it becomes very, very important for the government for the digital transformation of managing these resources and how these can be monitored across, more than 7,000 urban local bodies, because waste is directly related to the population. And we are all become much, much more self-conscious and aware that if there is no behavioral change and, a constant monitoring and evaluation of these problem statements, this can scale up to levels beyond our issues that we can manage. Hence, there is a huge growth potential ensuring that investments in circular economy and waste sectors are more than 1.3 trillion globally.
All right. So that was all the panelists' input for how the financial year is closing. But I'm very, very surprised and at the same time very happy to know that almost all the panelists have said that it's going to be really, really positive, giving us a lot of hope, right? So moving towards the next, the timeline, moving forward a timeline. One of the biggest phenomenon that became a reality, what was just an idea that became a reality, was the working from home culture, right? So before pandemic, there was a lot of debate whether it is going to work out, whether this is going to be feasible, and there were a lot of doubts and debates. But after COVID had hit us, work from home has been the only source wherein the continuity of the business has been ensured. But now, since the times have slowly coming back to the normal, there are companies which is allowing the employees to come back, but there are a few companies who still continue with the work from home culture. Now, at this juncture, I'd like to understand from your panelists, what kind of a work setup is going to be better, or is it going to work for your business? All right. So is it going to be the regular office model, or is it going to be the work from home, or is it going to be hybrid? But this time, for a change, we're not going to voice out. We are going to, share it with our actions. So if in case, if you think that the office setup is going to work out, give me a left thumbs up. If you think that the work from home model is going to work out, give me a right thumbs up. If you think that the hybrid model is going to work out, give me a namaste. So which type of setup is going to work for you? Okay, Vinay sir with a big namaste. Okay, that's a full board. That's a full board. All right, so the hybrid is going to work, not work from home, not office. It's going to be hybrid. That is going to work for all the 5 panelists here. Thank you so much. Yes, all right, moving forward, right? Moving forward again to the timeline. We still remember, right? We were all at the chaos. Somehow we are trying to ensure that the business has to be continued during the first few weeks of pandemic, right? So there were a lot of technology that came in that was literally pumped inside our lives. Zoom, for an instance, everyone started to talk about Zoom. All of a sudden, Zoom became the headlines. And just like that, similarly, on a business front, I'd like to understand what kind of technology adoption you initiated during the lockdown to ensure the continuity of the business, right? So I'd like to start from Mr. Umesh. Over to you. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah. So many technologies, like what I firmly believe is, for any business to grow, the technology is a key enabler. So during pandemic, as you rightly said, Zoom became the headlines. People from WhatsApp started migrating to Slack. People were trying to adopt cloud technologies, more moving towards cloud, more moving towards cloud became the integral part of the business model now. The cyber risk have also been increased. When the business were moving to adopting new technologies, bringing your own people, employees started bringing their own devices. The companies, the organizations started giving their own devices to take home. So I feel rather than work from home, going ahead, it will be work from anywhere. With new technologies, with new mediums to connect, virtual mediums to connect to the organizations, rather than saying it will be work from anywhere.
That's a good point. Work from home is now work from anywhere with the help of technology. Thank you so much, Mr. Umesh, for sharing that point. Yes, Mr. Ravi, over to you.
Yes, I think we have to keep a good perspective on this, in the sense that we are all from the service industry, and we are organized in a manner in which we work from offices, and that's being substituted by a modern work from home or work from anywhere. That is the new thing we are looking at. But we have to keep in mind that there is a large chunk of people who go to factories and work, and they were the ones who are very badly affected, because I have a number of clients who run factories, and the supply chain disruption was very severe, and therefore they could not do anything at all, because you can't do something with digital when there is a supply chain disruption. Similarly, we had this spread of COVID within the factories has been quite rampant and substantially underreported. Only one big report that came also in Bajaj Auto. Within 3 days, there were 400 people who got COVID because they just could not do the type of isolation that was required. So I just wanted to give that perspective that, people from the service industry working is fine. But at some point, we do interact with people in other industries who are not working from home or from office, but who are working from factories and such premises. That has been really a challenge. And I think the response and ability to show resilience has been far below par. I just wanted to bring that perspective into it this past.
That's completely true. That's completely true, Ravi sir. Yes, as he mentioned, for the industries and especially the man-tech places, I think it has been really good of challenge wherein to manage the workforce and still ensuring the productivity is there. Great. Yes, Mr. Prasad, being in the service industry, over to you.
Yeah, it was an experience for us. Like Mr. Gopalan said, yes, the manpower my team was disrupted. Staying in Bombay became hell. They moved to their cities. Few of them still continue staying in the cities. But it was the technology which enabled me to connect everybody together, rather the whole family of Salaskas. I migrated to cloud. I set up my own server. So it was a big learning lesson for me also to understand how cloud works, the new technology works, because I'm a typical hands-on man. Being a chartered accountant, a client comes to me, he shows me the books. I'm used to seeing physical papers, and suddenly I'm seeing digital papers. So yes, we adapted. The adaptation was frustrating initially because we can't touch and feel, but over a period of time, it created a comfort zone for us. We use two softwares with us. One is a accounting software, and the second is a taxation software called TaxBiz, which was co-developed by me. We were happy to launch it on cloud and connect all our staff. So today, few of our staff members are still in places like UP. Few of them are in Delhi. Few of them are. But yes, technology enabled us to continue, connect, continue our work, and then deliver, which was very important. We delivered on time. And then we had my colleagues and my peer groups asking me, Prasad, how did you do it? Which was a good learning, because it took me time to learn, because initially March, everything, 22nd March, I remember nothing could be done. April, nothing could be done. May, I wanted to go to the office. They sent me back. So yes, that initially few months sitting at home was frustrating, but that gave me a chance to reinvent myself. That incubation period helped me to actually go back in the shell and then be reborn again, to adapt to a new technology. And we are so happy using this technology, which gives us the flexibility to give an add-on service to our clients. Like, you don't come to the office, we will come to you now. So that flexibility has been created in the comfort of clients. We were able to create new products or services which they were very happy, and they're still very happy.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Prasad, for that wonderful input. Yes, Mr. Vinayak, I'd like to understand from you.
We basically had the entire platform ready to take to actually face such a condition. We had digital check truncation, digital document management system, digital board meeting of the directors, and some part of a task management, which is all done paperlessly. We have used entire these things together and have really developed a product, which is going to be one product which can basically operationalize, make all the operation in an office absolutely paperless. Let's say you have any meeting in an organization, it will happen through video conference meeting, gets recorded, notes are prepared. Before you have a meeting, you definitely have to set an agenda, what we are going to discuss, what are our target conclusions, and why they should be or why they should not be. It's a point of discussion. You decide. And during the meeting also it comes, yes, you have to perform a particular task. This task has to be done to take a decision. You are assigned during the meeting itself. You say, okay, now this is the task, this is the time frame, who is going to do it? He gets back to himself, and then he can do it himself or divide the entire task into the team which is reporting to him. And then these tasks are electronically tracked. They have got internal reminders. Okay, you have 3 sets of reminders. Exactly now your target date is coming, go for approach. Within the same solution, we have also got the processes automation where there is a document movement. Let's say a purchase requisition, purchase order, purchase goods received, payment. All these things are basically papers generated at different locations, and we enable them to be moving to a specific person or a group where it can be automatically done for all the movement of such a particular transaction. Then we have also inbuilt within the same system all the compliance management organization, whether it is SEBI, Reserve Bank of India, Ministry of Petroleum and Gas, all the compliance is also. So what this entire software is doing is accountability. When you know the person has got a task, how exactly the tasks have been executed in time, out of time, delayed. Then you also have tracking the reports are getting submitted. Now the reports which are submitted is known exactly who has done the work, and the report goes to exactly those people who are supposed to see it. That means you have an absolute transparency across the organization that is going to be recorded, and then you will use this for having your employees work.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Vinay sir. Yes, Meha, I would like to understand from you.
Thanks, Muthu. Actually, we kept our focus on resilience as the foundation because we knew whether it was our employees, our clients for whom we were working on the projects, our frontline workers, or the city officials. It was very important how do we maintain the resilience. We worked on a formula of, being an MSME. It was very important that, okay, we may not be able to scale at the speed that we were visualizing, but it was very important that we kept our focus on safety, security, whether it was of security of the waste workers and the social security or the income security of our employees. We are very glad to say there was not a single month, there was no pay cuts, there were no delay in people's salaries. And we focused on the next, which was the delivery on time. And how could we look at these various challenges as opportunities to create new businesses and create new tech-enabled solutions is where we focused on getting the investment to be done. So from spanning from the mental health and the basic income of our employees to be taken care on month, from ensuring that our frontline workers who are never going to stop a day have all the social security and the security of working without pays on ground by our ecosystem of whether it was a client. So our clients like Nestle supported the waste workers for 3 months with their basic needs and all the solutions that was required for their safety cares. So yes, we focused on the ecosystem, we focused on the various challenges as opportunities and translated them into more and more tech solutions, whether it was for training modules, for virtual, and how it can ensure that the safety and security is taken care of. So yes, we did go a little back foot on our the speed at which we would accelerate as an organization, but we said we will ensure that these basics are taken care of because that was important for the impact that we want to create.
Amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Meha. And I think without any cut in the salary, I think, is there any vacancy in your organization, Meha, which I would like to join?
Most welcome. Yes, many. We're starting in Kerala and we're already in Pondicherry. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Meha. That was indeed a good gesture, to be very honest. Very, very nice. Yes. So going forward, this pandemic has been completely filled with a lot of jargons, right? So we have heard about a lot of jargons by new normal or the social distancing or whatnot. There were a lot of jargons. And talking about the technology's perspective, that is one jargon called as the digital normal, right? Now the meetings are over video. Now you don't have to take a flight to anywhere. I can sit at the liberty of my home and run a meeting at my comfort level, just wearing a pajamas. But to come to this digital normal, there were a lot of challenges, right? Using Zoom was a big challenge, but even a bigger challenge was to instruct or educate our employees how to use Zoom more effectively, or how to mute or how to unmute usage of virtual background. There are a lot of challenges per se. But from your perspective, for your business and for your perspective, I would like to understand what were some of the biggest challenges while adopting towards this digital normal. So that will be my next question. I'd like to start with Mr. Umesh again. Over to you.
So as we speak about digitalization, or as we speak, so today almost all the organizations are virtually connected to their employees. When I say this, virtually connected, you have Zoom, you have Teamweavers, you have Slack, you have WhatsApp, and lots of technologies. Uh, the cloud, the people have started moving towards the cloud. Initially, when the cloud technology was coming up, there were many stoppers talking about how the cloud technology will be adopted. How are we going to move towards cloud? But with this pandemic, the 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 organizations have virtually been connected. They are moving very closer to each other, to the employees. But yes, when we speak about digitalization, or when we speak about virtualization, or when we talk about all these technologies, there are inherent risks which comes along with these technologies. There are cyber risks, which Jenny spoke about. There are phishing, there are spamming, there are cybersecurity threats. So to overcome these threats, there are many controls that needs to be deployed. With safeguards and with enhancements and with different controls, yes, we were able to securely connect to our employees, securely connect our members, secure our digital platforms. The second was obviously, yes, the cultural, we had to develop that culture with the employees. I mean, when prior to pandemic, when we were in offices, we had that's an intent or a way of moving towards a table, going towards the cabins, and then having a meeting. But here the meetings were virtual. So that cultural difference was there. That culture had to be developed. So this were the challenges while moving or towards the virtual world or virtual environment.
Wonderful. Thank you, Umesh. I think I would like to take one point of which Umesh had said. Cybersecurity is really a bigger threat, especially once we are all moving towards virtual. That's been rightly said. It's over to Mr. Raviji. Yes, I would like to understand from you.
I think when you compare face-to-face meetings vis-a-vis Zoom meetings, one important thing is if a point is missed by one of the participants, there's a likelihood that the other participants don't realize it. And when there are intense conversations going on and important matters being discussed, this missing of points by individuals or the large number of individuals who are participating for various reasons. It could be somebody that he had gone to attend a doorbell, we don't know, the video may be off. And there are so many reasons. It could be as simple as that, or simple attention deficit at that particular instant, which is not noticed by the speaker or the person who's chairing the meeting. So what I have realized is it is extremely essential that post a meeting, an email which is as comprehensive as possible is circulated amongst the participants, so that even those who have missed some certain points, if they don't want to come back onto it, or if they have realized that they were not in that and they are not understanding that part of that element of discussion, they can give a feedback. This is important. Otherwise, it could lead to problems in terms of misunderstanding or lack of understanding on the part of certain participants in the meeting. I think that is something that one has to keep in mind when doing a virtual meeting.
That's absolutely true, sir. The online meeting etiquette has been a real thing. I think if you have a kid at your home, every Indian kid deserves an Oscar for acting, especially during attending the online classes. The way they say the reasons that the video is poor, and the audio is not working, they absolutely deserve an award. Is over to Mr. Vinay.
Yeah, our challenge has been basically team building. Within the office, people can discuss and talk about it. And in here, we get only 5 to 10 minutes in the morning to discuss what is the problem, what are the issues, we go to coordinate with them. And then obviously, if we have more meetings, the work goes. Second challenge comes on the managers who are handling many people. And this many people following with individuals is really going to be taking their time. If somebody has a team of large team, he is going to face many issues. Then what happens, like these engineers who are working, if it is an office, with one simple body language gesture, you can really control 10 to 15 people. So this does not happen during the morning meetings. Then, of
Right.
course, the support to the customers. And what happened previously used to be that we can have our engineers at customer premises, which is not there now because of the cyber security issues. In fact, organizations have given us their own VPN laptop computers. Yes, keep it at your home. So individuals have got Ultratech has given one laptop, and then Bayer India has given other laptops. CPSM, many. In fact, we have a problem with CPSM. They have not given, and then support to them become. These are the
Thank you.
challenges we have faced.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Vinay. Yes, over to Meha. I'd like to understand from you.
Hi, Muthu. Sorry, I was facing some net connections again, some issues at my end. Could you just help me with the question again?
Sure. I was just asking them some of the biggest challenges the companies were facing while adopting towards the digital normal.
Okay. Yeah. Just would want to take it from there and articulate. Yes. So as my other colleagues here on the call mentioned, there were a lot of adopting of how you need to adopt to enterprise solutions or technology solutions, because the space in which our organization works, these are extremely require the presence of our teams, whether it is required for training of the waste workers, whether it is required for hand holding the citizens to ensure the behavioral change. It's a very in a pre-pandemic world, a very face-to-face training sessions, modules, interactions with the citizens and the urban local bodies and the government official. Transforming this all and maintaining the relationship, we had to upgrade our, which we could continue the training of the waste workers virtually. We had to upgrade our SaaS models to 4-level segregation and technology to 4-level segregation, because we could foresee a huge biomedical waste need coming across the country. So yes, SaaS models upgradation was important, and how ERP solutions are important for the urban local bodies, from the source of waste to the end of life solution. So yes, these were the software needs which we saw and we knew that would require huge investments. So yes, funds, investments into the technology, which probably would fall 6 months or a year down the line, had to much preponed and work on leaner models to upgrade and ensure that the deliveries are made.
Wonderful. Thank you, Meha. Is over to Mr. Prasad.
Yeah. See, the biggest one of the things, like, it's just not my personal experience, but I'm talking in general. The biggest technology or adapting to technology was we were all in a situation like karo ya maro. Now we either do it or we die. We had no choice, and we, like, necessity is mother of invention. I think people were creative enough to create solutions which adapted. For me, to teach my staff how to use Zoom, I used WhatsApp video calling. So those are the things I think we were able to adapt. Main thing is what I feel gave rise to everybody out here is doing multitasking, like taking care of the home, which the wives were very happy, and quite sure Janice will agree. And so is Neha. And we were able to do both and keep everybody happy. I think that part of the level of mind actually gave rise to our ability to even enhance our intellectuals and a thinking pattern much better. And so I think that's stressful, that you have to keep going through our stress level. I think we as people in general were able to adapt to it so that we can go to the next levels. And if such kind, God forbid, does not happen in the future, but if it does, I think we know how to adapt and survive it. I think that's what this whole pandemic has taught me. And that's how I think the technology has evolved. I see the maximum amount of startups doing so well with multi-level products out here. And I think even Muthu will agree with me because he's also part of a startup. But well, just common sense things which necessities of people were covered up by these startups. Digital medias like today, I have never seen UPI being so penetrative that even the
True, very
government
true.
has used it. I don't want to touch money. I don't want to go to the ATM. I may just fear getting corona from notes. And I think these were the things which gave rise to so many things. So adaptivity, I think, is not an issue for anybody. It's basically cyclical in nature. What you call cyclic unemployment, it's something that way. Once people start adapting to it, they automatically cover for it.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Prasad. That has been neatly put. As you said, the adoption of technology, for example, UPI, as you said, that has been really great, especially during the pandemic. Thank you, all the panelists. That has been a good round of inputs from you all. And moving, we were talking about the challenges so far, right? But one thing which connects all the entrepreneurs is the ability to find a solution for all the problems, right? So that's how it has been, and that's how it connects us. So I'd like to understand from you panelists, what kind of an enterprise solution or solutions you feel can enhance your productivity. So I would like to start with Mr. Umesh.
So solutions, as Meha already discussed about enterprise level solutions, the cloud part, the connectivity part. So technology, as I earlier said, technology has been the key player when we are talking about current pandemic situation. The mindset of employees has changed. The technology has evolved. There are many solutions which are coming up in the market. So previously, who thought previously when let's see about a small example about a VPN connectivity. Earlier in an organization, how many employees or how many users has VPN connectivity? But now with this pandemic situation, almost all the employees, all the workforces have been given VPN connectivity. They are how many people thought about bringing their own devices? Organizations never thought about giving the devices, connecting their own devices by the employees. But yes, this pandemic has given this also enhancement. So I feel yes, technology has gone a step ahead, or it has been a boon to all the organizations or all the employees during this pandemic situations.
Thank you, Mr. Umesh. Yes, Mr. Ravi, over to you.
Yes. See, in investment banking, the role of technology is something difficult to visualize and roll out overnight. We really need. See, we don't have a chief technology officer in our firm, or any big firm won't have one, and we have this challenge of somebody understanding our requirement and tailoring and providing a solution to it. So far, we have not come across anybody offering tailored solution for boutique investment banks. Till such time, we are trying to more intensely utilize the piecemeal technologies that are available, products that are available in the market. For simple reason, I can give a very simple example. I need to reach out to say the secretary of a CEO of a 500 crore company or a 1,000 crore company. Now the office phone is not working. The secretary is not working. The person who lifts the phone is the watchman, who does not give the numbers. Now you don't forget the numbers. You don't even get the email. How do you find the email and reach out to that person? One is LinkedIn, which we try to sweat as much as possible. But then I found that there is something called Rocket Reach. They give 15 email addresses and they test it out and say these are the possible right ones. You try it out. And I found that it was working quite well and I could reach many people through it. So I'm using piecemeal solutions available in the market currently to overcome these problems. But something which is very robust in terms of enterprise-wide for me and my employees is something not yet in place.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Ravi. Pocket Reach, that was a new learning for me, I think. Thank you. That was a good use of technology, I should say. Yes, Mr. Prasad, over to you.
Yeah. For me, the biggest, I'm a person who likes to look out for a complete holistic solution with cost effectiveness. If I do it for my clients, I need to do it for myself. So when we implemented the technology, we saw to it, we created a platform wherein which my employees were not handicapped with the kind of laptops they were having, because I was not able to deliver the laptops to them because of COVID. And I think that was a very big thing, which I think I can openly say this. I work with Microsoft here on Microsoft Azure platform, and I think they became a very big help to me to make me understand what kind of solution I take from them. As besides that, I think the whole shift was that today technology is going to be with us. This technology will remain with us, and this technology will always keep evolving. And it will be a system where we all said, okay, we need a home, and we'll be working from home as well as from the office. But the size of office will just not be restricted to a place now. It will be pan-India. My office is where my employees are. My office is where I could sit in an airport, and that's where I start working. I think that shift has been very important. The telecom companies have been very helpful because the cost of bandwidth has come down, which is why the success can be contributed to that. The technology part being very much cheaper than what it was last year has made the major difference in implementing this work from home. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible. It wouldn't have been cost effective for anybody to work from home.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Prasad. Yes, Mr. Vinay.
I need to thank Janice for that, the telecom industry that she represents.
Wonderful. Yes, Mr. Vinay, please unmute yourself. Yes, sir.
See, we are the ones who are going to enable everybody's problem. The solution which we are building is going to help all of us. The reason is it is going to take care of who is doing what at what level, what work is being done, how to handle the compliances in an organization, with proper reminders, timely reminders, task assignment, meetings control, everything is, all of these will be in a digital platform, and everything is recorded. And over 1 or 2 years, once you have a record, you will know exactly how the organization is moving. Analysis of this particular data will help you, which people to grow in the organization, how they are going to work. And this particular software which we are building is already at testing with Ultratech Cement. It is a good organization. In fact, their new plant is being done on this, where the task is being assigned in civil, mechanical, electrical, how they go parallel. Now it is subdivided. That is helping them grow.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vinay. Yes, Meha. My new boss, I should say.
Yeah, thanks, Muthu. So from solutions perspective, as Umesh also did acknowledge, we definitely realized and implemented that ERP solutions going forward, solutions which would, ensure that how all your employees, whether they are working in the remotest of scenarios and situations, how can solutions which are cost effective can ensure the accessibility through technology, how training solutions and training modules can be translated on ground. So it was more important that softwares and solutions which can reduce the distance in the value chain, which can ensure that the value chain together works as an ecosystem, whether it is in the agriculture field, whether it is in the sector of waste, or whether it is in the sector of retail, how the whole tech-enabled solutions can integrate the value chain and ensure that from source to the end beneficiary, every level is tech-enabled. Was pandemic definitely accelerated for all of us in the, which you call, whether it is the ed tech, the civic tech, or the agri-tech solutions. So that was extremely important, and the movement of an ecosystem together is extremely important by the tech enabling solutions. So whether it is SaaS, whether it is our enterprise solutions, whether it is payments. I mean, if you're looking at paying your waste workers without having the touch and feel of the note, you are completely digitizing the farmers, the waste workers to the next level, and ensuring a futuristic security and services for them.
All right. Thank you, Meha. Moving forward, yes, Mr. Vinay.
I just want to add one more thing, that our solution is cloud enabled, which is going to enable a small, tiny company to a large organization Depending
All
upon
right.
their pocket size and use it. Like it could be 1,000 rupees a year to a lakh rupees per year. Both of
Wonderful.
them are enabled through a single platform.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. And I think at this juncture, I should also thank, we all should thank the Tata Tele for offering wonderful solutions and services, helping a lot of SMEs grow during the pandemic. And yes, I have one question left with me for which I would like to, it's kind of a strategical question based upon how you work your business. So I request it to be like a rapid fire round. Keep it very, very short, maybe in a word or two. That's how I want the answers to be. Yes. So the question is very simple. I want to understand what was that one thing that worked very well for your business, one strategy that worked very well for your business, which you would like to share to the others. Remember, it's a rapid fire round, so please keep it short. Yes, I'd like to start with Mr. Umesh.
So the very first priority was employees' security. The second was geographically segmentation of the functions and businesses and activities of any business. And obviously, yes, the supply chain. The supply chain has to be very strong during such pandemic situations.
All right. Thank you, sir. It's over to Mr. Ravi.
The main thing was to remain focused on a day-to-day basis and add value to your business, whatever way possible, and in the typical 9 to 5 scenario, whatever, and see that gain at least in the long term.
All right. Thank you, Ravi, sir. It's over to Mr. Prasad.
I think what I like to mention is employee protection. Before that, all of us, just not employees, all of us protection, innovative solution, and timely delivery. Using technology as a backbone, I think, is my takeaway from the whole COVID scenario, which I can share with.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Prasad. Yes, Mr. Vinay, I'd like to understand from you.
Employees were all definitely enjoying work from home. It was never an issue with us. And we were already used to work from home. So digital part, working from home was actually a biggest advantage to us.
Right.
A lot of running around was reduced and people we could connect easily. That was the
wonderful. Thank you, sir. Yes, finally, Meha, over to you.
Oh, Muthu, for us, completely investing into into a culture which ensures a leadership team was a huge advantage as the resilience and as an organization, as a family, that we could see the pandemic and could quickly innovate. And the second thing very important was how futuristic you are from how futuristic you are from the knowledge that you can be sector agnostic and translate it into solutions.
Thank you,
So,
Meha.
These were the two strong pillars. Thanks, Muthu.
Thank you so much, Meha. And also, that has been an excellent and productive panel discussion with the lovely speakers I had today. We had a lot of inputs, we had a lot of mixed reviews and comments. But one thing which we all should be, appreciable about ourselves is, no matter what the scenario had been, we always pushed ourselves beyond the limit. And now we are sitting here, somehow managing the pandemic and safely driving through it. So I think we all should have a pat on our shoulders for ourselves, because nobody else is going to give us. So yes, that has been an excellent panel discussion, as I said. And at this juncture, I'd like to invite Janice for a brief closing thought. Over to you.
Thank you once again for your time. Personally, I have gained a lot from each one of you, understanding, how your industry has, turned around, the challenges, and everybody. What I hear is everybody has been positive. I mean, we started with a note where we didn't know where the future lies, what's going to happen. When the lockdown was announced on 21st of March, we didn't know, for how long. It's a 20 days, then again 1 month. But, at the end of 1 year, when I hear from all of you that it has been a great teacher, COVID-19 actually has been a great teacher for all of us. And it has, what should I say, things which we thought was not possible. Work from home, it is not a permanent solution. The efficiency only lies when people come to the office, meet, see their faces. And now I can call those as myths. It's COVID-19 where I can confidently say it's a myth. And now we feel that how it is cost effective, how people have more time to do other things, spending time with their family, at the same time being very productive in the organization, spending their time with their passion, whatever their hobbies are. I think it's a great feature. And I hope all the viewers who have logged in for this session, they have also gained. So thank you so much, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Janice. And on behalf of the talk, we would like to
Thank
wish
you.
all success for your business in the upcoming days. Thank you so much, the panelists, for joining with us. Have a great, great week ahead. Thank you, panelists.